It's everyone's favorite time of year, the Maritime's Pumpkin Beer Showdown!
What is up, you guys? HazeBro here, and yes, it is everyone's favorite time of year. It is time for our Maritime's Pumpkin Beer Showdown. Now this year, I'm doing less beers than last year because I've refined it down to some of the better ones. We've got some of our returning champions, and we even have one or two new beers thrown in the mix. So this is gonna be just the best of the best for our third year of the Maritime Pumpkin Beer Showdown. So in order, we've got the Tales from the Patch Pumpkin Porter, because we want to throw a porter in the mix. This one is available at MB Liquor in New Brunswick, but it's actually made out in Calgary. We're gonna throw it in here just to have a wild card. We've got a returning beer, the Gahan Pumpkin Ale from PEI. We've got one of our champions, which is Gravedigger Pumpkin Ale from Upstreet on PEI. We've got another champion, which is Petit-Sault's Bonhomme Setter Pumpkin Ale. We've got this one, which I think we had last year too, the Flying Monkeys Paranormal Imperial Pumpkin Ale. That one's a whopping 10%, and we brought it in because it is available at the liquor stores in New Brunswick. We've got last year's champion, which was a newcomer last year, Tire Shack's The Wicker Man Pumpkin Vienna Lager. And finally, we've got St. Ambroise, the Great Pumpkin Beer, which is also available at MB Liquor Store. So you might notice there is a lack of no Nova Scotia pumpkin beers this time. There's two reasons. One, the Nova Scotia pumpkin beers weren't ever in the top few rankings, apart from maybe the Propeller, which was the first pumpkin beer I ever had. And number two, I did not go to Nova Scotia and I didn't know anyone who was, so I just was not able to get any pumpkin beers from there. But you gotta do what you gotta do. So let's pour them out. All right, so here we go. We've got all the pumpkin beers ready to go. We're gonna start all the way over here with the St. Ambroise Pumpkin Ale, the Great Pumpkin Beer, a 5%. Little syrupy and sweet. It's okay. It's a good pumpkin ale, you know, like kind of like a basic entry to pumpkin beers. I'll give it that. I'm gonna have some water between each taste just to cleanse the palate. Last year's champion, The Wicker Man Pumpkin Vienna Lager by Tire Shack in Moncton, and it is a 5% as well. Oh yeah, I remember why that one won last year. It is light, very smooth. Some pumpkin notes are present, they're not overpowering. Really nice aftertaste. It still feels and tastes like you're drinking a lager, which is super refreshing. Yeah, that one's great. And honestly, it's already better than the St. Ambroise. No contest. Next up is the Flying Monkeys from Ontario Paranormal Imperial Pumpkin Ale, a 10%er. This is for those who want to get ripped. Whoa. Yeah. Now that's a punch in the mouth. There's lots of booziness right off the bat, smacking the taste buds. Lots of pumpkin flavor, lots of spice, very malty and syrupy. It's a lot to handle. It's good, but it is a very big pumpkin beer. If you wanted like a beer that was like gonna be your big last beer of the night, and you want to get wasted on it, that's probably your choice. Next up is an old favorite of mine, the Petit-Sault Bonhomme Setter, which is an 8.5%. It's boozy. The booziness is balanced by the spices and the pumpkin notes. This is one that would taste amazing paired with a Thanksgiving turkey dinner, and I know that from experience. Then we've got another favorite of mine, the Upstreet Gravedigger Pumpkin Ale at a 6.5%. I love this one because it is so sweet, but not too sweet. It's got some nice, soft vanilla notes. It really tastes more like a dessert beer. The pumpkin is present, but this one is a smooth, easy drinking one, very similar to the Tire Shack. And you cannot taste that 6.5%. It is well disguised by all that flavor going on. And also from Prince Edward Island, we've got the Gahan Pumpkin Ale. This one is a 5.8%. Yeah, it's a decent pumpkin beer. Reminds me a lot of the St. Ambroise. It's It's a bit more dry than the other ones were. The pumpkin is present. It's a decent attempt. And finally, this is one I've never had before now. It is the Big Rig Tales from the Patch Pumpkin Porter, also of 5.8%. And it's different from all the others because, as you can see, it is a porter. Nice. It's nice just for some variety from the other pumpkin beers. It's dark, smooth, heavy. You know, it's a bit chocolatey, but I'm not really tasting much pumpkin, to be honest. A little bit in the aftertaste, you can taste some of the spices and a bit of the pumpkin flavor. Who would I be to eliminate first? Well, I'm gonna compare the two bottom ones from right off the bat, which are the Gahan and the Saint Ambroise. So let's see how those two stack up against each other. Saint Ambroise first. Almost a little chemically, if I'm being honest. And then the Gahan. Definitely the Gahan is better than the Saint Ambroise. So Saint Ambroise, you're out of here. If I'm gonna put Gahan up against another one for the second to last place, it's gotta compete with the porter, just because I wasn't tasting enough pumpkin in it to really contend against all these other pumpkin beers. I don't even smell much pumpkin. And maybe that's just because a porter, it's already got so much chocolate and sweet roasty flavor from the porter that it's overpowering the pumpkin. It's possible they didn't add as much pumpkin as they should have for a pumpkin porter. You know, I think the Gahan beats the porter because I really don't taste that much pumpkin in the porter, if any. Also, the porter's from Calgary, so it's hard to really stack it in with Maritime pumpkin ales. And I'm not saying that, I'm not kicking it out just because it's not from the Maritimes, but that is a little bit of a factor. And the fact that I don't really taste any pumpkin. So it's second last. So next up, I'm gonna have the Gahan compete against the 10%er, the Flying Monkeys Paranormal Beer. I'm booting out this one because it is not from the Maritimes, even though year after year it's always available, at least in the NB liquor stores. 10% is a little off-putting when you want to be drinking tons of pumpkin beers or be drinking a lot of beers with your friends, so by a narrow margin, the Gahan is beating that one out for me. And now is where things get very difficult, because I've got my top three that I know are good, that I loved in my first taste. Year after year, I always like those ones. And we've got the Gahan, which I'm leaving a bit in there so that I can taste it after retasting these ones to see where it stands. And honestly, I can just tell all three of these beat the Gahan, so Gahan is being booted out. So we're down to our final three. And you might be thinking, you know what, HazeBro, you just already knew that it was going to be these three. No, these are unbiased reviews, and you know, I will admit they are my favorite year after year, but it's because they are consistently really good. They've earned this spot. But the question is, what order will they be in? Because year number one, the Upstreet Gravedigger won. Year number two, when the Wicker Man was available for the first time, that one won. All right, Gravedigger first. Very nice. Sweet, some vanilla, some pumpkin. Doesn't taste boozy. That's a really good solid pumpkin beer. Compare that to the Petit-Sault. That one's nice because it's spicy. It's a bit boozy, but it's balanced really well with the pumpkin and the spice flavors. So it's a very well-balanced beer, especially for a boozier pumpkin beer. The Tire Shack Wicker Man. That one's also nice because it's lighter, it's a bit of sweetness, not as sweet as the Gravedigger. Pumpkin ale, the pumpkin flavor is there too, and it's a very clean beer. But here's the challenge, is that all three are very good, and all three are just different enough from each other that it's hard to compare because they're each going for something different. I'm so full from all these pumpkin beers, and I just ate supper too. Ooh. This was a very tough decision. And when it gets down to these final three that are top of the game for Maritime pumpkin beers, here's the order for the final three. Petit-Sault, number 3, third place, pretty great. Now between these two, champions of year 1 and champions of year 2, this is gonna be surprising, but second place goes Tire Shack, first place goes Upstreet. This is pretty amazing because Upstreet took year number 1 with their Gravedigger Pumpkin Ale, and then we had the newcomer last year of the Tire Shack, Wicker Man, that took first spot, and now in year 3, Upstreet has stolen that spot back. So they are the champions once again. And these three were just solid pumpkin beers. Any one of them, I recommend you pick all of them up because they're all so good. The rest of them get progressively And now, as always, comes the best part, which is drinking them all because you can't let beer go to waste. Oh, I'm so full though. Oh. Oh. I'm gonna be honest, I really don't want to drink all these. I'm so full. All that water I was having between each sip. My own rule is that you can't let beer go to waste, so I guess I gotta suck it up. Luckily, I do have friends coming over, so I don't have to finish all the cans because I'm gonna share with them, but these tasters are all mine. I put my mouth to those glasses, so no one else is gonna be drinking from those. Ooh. Ooh. All right, here we go. I've moaned enough. I've got to just do it. All right. Ooh. No. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to finish the samplers with my friends once they arrive because I need a few minutes to let my stomach digest and I need to lie down on the couch. But I promise you these beers will be drank and none of them will be going to waste. So once again, thank you for tuning in to this year's Maritime Pumpkin Beer Showdown. I've been your host, HazeBro, and do not forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe to be notified about future videos. A peace!